We have a lot of things to be afraid of right now. Afraid of living, afraid of going out to in public spaces, afraid of dying, afraid of getting older, afraid of disease. And yet, even the things that we would hope for, that we would want right now, make us afraid because we don't feel like they're going to come to fruition. We want things to go back to normal, and we're afraid that they're not, and there's great loss and there's great grief over some of the things that we would consider normal living and normal life. And yet we know that there's a big difference when it comes to God, about our wants and our needs, that He has promised all along to care for every single one of our needs. And Psalm 23 says that the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. In other words, because we're being shepherded and led by the Lord Himself, we won't have any wants, that He's going to take care of all of our needs in close relationship to Him. In verse 4, it goes on to say that even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. And when I was a kid, we used the King James Version, and it said, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. And I thought, what's this guy excited about? Why is he saying yay about walking through a shadow of death? And of course, that's not what it means in the Old English. It is tying in, though, what it says prior to this verse 4, which is verse 3, that He leads us in path of righteousness' sake for His name. And that these paths of righteousness is where that He does His transformative work in us and through us, and that His righteousness becoming alive in us, changing us to be more like Himself, is where we find faith over fear. That instead of being afraid, we can soar in confidence in God, and that our confidence would soar over evil and the things that are so wrong with this broken and fallen world that we live in, and all the tragedy that we're facing right now. And so I encourage you to put these things together, that the Lord is your shepherd, you shall not want. He's going to give you everything that you need. He's going to give you righteousness through Christ Himself as you learn to walk with the shepherd and be led by Him every step of the way, so that you would be able to face every form of shadow of death, that you would fear no evil. And the psalmist tells us why we can do this: because the Lord is with us. And so my prayer for you today is that the Lord would be with you, that you would fear no evil, that even though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, your confidence and faith would soar in God, that you would go in peace, and that you would walk with your Savior, who is the Lord, your shepherd, as He leads you and guides you every step of the way.